Rabai matendanetsa, Rabai matendanetsa, Mari, Rabai matendanetsa, Mari, Rabai matendanetsa, Rabai matendanetsa, Mari, Rabai matendanetsa.
Psalms 91 verse 5. You shall not be afraid of the terror of the night, nor of the arrow, the evil plots and the slender of the wicked that flies by the day. There shall no evil before you, nor any plague or calamity come near your tent. Indeed, we are more than conquerors through Christ who strengthened us.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Harare West YPU Health Interview segment. I'm your host, Pastor Masiyambiri. On this program, we are privileged tonight to be having Dr. Mudawarima of Revival Clinic. He is going to be demystifying issues surrounding the dreaded Covid-19 pandemic. Welcome, Doctor, to our program tonight.
Thank you so much, man of God. Thank you for having me.
From March, our lives have changed a lot due to the effects of this much-dreaded pandemic. Schools have closed, businesses have downsized. There was introduction of lockdown measures and compulsory wearing of masks, to mention but a few. So, Doctor, maybe you can start by briefly introducing yourself to the audience and then walk us through the journey of COVID-19 or coronavirus. Over to you. You can introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you, man of God. My name is Mudawarima. I'm a medical doctor. I'm a general practitioner. I am currently running a medical center in Mufakosi high density suburb called Revival Clinic. So I'm married, so I guess that's just about all that there is to say about me.
Thank you so much, Doc. Maybe just to give a brief background about the COVID-19. Globally, we have seen loss of so many lives and so many people being infected by this pandemic. Would you just want to tell us what really is coronavirus?
Okay, so coronavirus is, the term coronavirus, we've had it for a long time, because coronavirus is just a class of viruses that have been seen to have a shape of a crown. That's why corona. So there are several types of coronaviruses, but the one in question is a new one that was recently identified towards the end of 2019, and it is believed to have come from seafood in China. So there are several other theories, but at least as far as we know is that it is part of a family of various viruses that we've had for a long time. And this coronavirus, it's a virus that can be transmitted via air. It's an airborne virus. So there are so many myths that we seek to debunk tonight. But over and above all, coronavirus has literally changed everyone, one way or the other. It has either affected you or infected you. So one way or the other, every one of us is a victim, directly or indirectly.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Doc. Lately, maybe you've observed that there's been a lot of stigmatization and a lack of disclosure of COVID-19. Would you want to walk us through the stigmatization around COVID-19?
Yeah. Just like any other pandemic, other global pandemic that we have had in the past, coronavirus is no different in the sense that a lot has been attached to it. The fact that it has no cure, the fact that there is no vaccine as yet, the fact that coronavirus is also deadly. So all those issues generally molded our human behavior towards, number one, not only resenting this virus, but also anyone who is attempted to be infected or affected one way or the other. So there's so many issues around stigma. Number one, I'll tell you, for instance, where I practice it's literally a ghetto, so to speak. Every time I used to pass by with a mask on my mouth, even little kids would scream at me and call me Corona myself. So these are the issues that, up to the little ones, this stigma has trickled down from the highest of our social class from the oldest to the youngest. So there's so much stigma around it, and a lot of work has to be done if you are to win this battle and war against this pandemic.
Interesting. So maybe that takes us maybe to the question of awareness. Despite the much publicity around COVID-19, maybe from your experiences you've just been highlighting to us, it seems in terms of conscientizing our masses, we still have a bit of a long way to go in terms of people understanding COVID-19 and its effects. How do you justify this assessment in terms of conscientization and reaching out? Do you think we have made much progress as a nation?
Okay, the real challenge behind this virus and pandemic is that in the initial stages, it seemed like our nation and other African countries were on the sideline. We used to hear news about this pandemic and this virus ravaging lives all across the world except back at home. So much that so many myths began to develop. So many people thought coronavirus was not going to infect the black man. So many people thought Africans were immune. So many people thought coronavirus would not affect anyone who lives in temperate conditions. So all these issues caught us unaware when the virus eventually started hitting hard here at home. There are so many issues that we have not managed to deal with. For instance, number one, the ministry and the media have done quite well, I should say. But the only problem is that I guess our society is, we've got a lot of Thomases. We want to see and then we believe. So when we saw media reports from all across the world about people losing their lives, it seemed like all those were myths, or it was a white man's condition, and these are the issues that I think we are still trying to battle with at the moment. But so far, we've done quite a lot of work, but a little more needs to be done, especially in the part, number one, of the church. I think the church has to come out more, has to speak out more. I think the church has to normalize everything around this pandemic for the sake of saving lives. Another example, man of God, is that we've seen some secular businesses taking the lead in distributing branded masks. We need to see that, more of that even from the church, because most people in Africa, most people in our nation, one way or the other, they are connected to the church, one way or the other. So the church has a great impact that it can have during this time. So I think the church, even the country, still can do more.
Thank you so much for a much elaborate response to such a question. All those who are listening and watching us, COVID-19 is real and it's upon us. It is everybody's responsibility to make sure that all the citizens are safe, even at home. It is everyone's responsibility to make sure that our kids and our loved ones are safe. To the next question, Doc, I was just talking about making sure that our loved ones and kids are safe. That takes us to family relations. What was the effect or the diverse effects of the coronavirus or the COVID-19 on family relations from your assessment?
Okay, man of God. First and foremost, in any pandemic, there are a lot of public health measures that have to be set in motion to try and avert the spread. Just like in our case, one of them is social distancing. And looking at our culture, social distancing is definitely not one of the things that we are accustomed to here in Africa. So number one, a lot of talk goes around even amongst family members. You don't go visit them and they think you're probably being arrogant, but those are the issues that people are beginning to grapple with because of this pandemic. Number two, livelihoods have been lost. Not only lives, but livelihoods. People have lost their jobs, they've lost income. Marriages are breaking. Marriages are breaking because financially most couples, most families are struggling. The other thing also is that families are also getting to spend more time together. I've recently seen a report from the Zimbabwe Republic Police. There's been an upsurge of domestic violence cases. So there are a lot of dynamics to this pandemic that has led to so much damage and harm to our relations. But however, there is also some light in all this. For example, there are so many people who have had so many busy schedules. They've also gotten time to spend with their families. So it's not all gloomy in all this. There are also ways in which we have also managed to get our relationships to strengthen. People have also strengthened their communication via virtual means. People now can call each other more often because they definitely know that we may probably not get a chance to visit each other. So there's so many dimensions to this, but I would say to a larger extent, there's been more of harm to relations because of the coming of this pandemic.
Oh, thank you so much, Doc. More of harm than benefits brought about by COVID-19. Doc, maybe you would want to say something on healthy eating and exercises. In face of this COVID-19, you know, a lot of people, some used to jog in the morning and maybe in the evening, depending in the location they are in. But now, because of the restrictive lockdown measures and maybe in our case, the curfews that have been imposed, it means that people are no longer able to go out and do exercises the same as healthy eating. You know, whenever you talk of health food, it means that you have to travel to go and get them, be it Mbaremsika, be it the local market. Now, it seems people are a bit restricted now. What's your comment on healthy eating and exercises, especially in this situation that we are in of COVID-19?
Okay, man of God, let me start by saying there is no reason whatsoever that can stop any man from getting what they want, no matter how gloomy things may be. For example, we may see this lockdown as a setback in the sense that some people think I may not have enough time to go out and exercise, but who said you can only exercise by jogging? Who said you can't exercise indoors? Who said you can't exercise in your backyard? Who said you can't exercise in your bedroom? So it is another way of trying to maneuver and find ways of maintaining a healthy living even during such a time. There are so many ways by which people can maintain a healthy lifestyle even under lockdown. That's number one. Number two, the other thing also is that the good thing is that not everything is under lockdown. We've seen that so many markets, so many stores have instituted some online shopping. You can shop from the comfort of your home. They will come and deliver. So there is no reason really for one not to exercise, for one not to eat healthily simply because we are on lockdown. And the other thing also, remember the curfew is a restriction to try and curb the spread, because remember, after hours most people would gather at public places like beer halls and shopping malls, and this is just a public measure to try and control the movement of people and consequently the spread of this virus. So there is no reason whatsoever that would stop people from exercising or living healthily. So let me say there is still so much room to maneuver around all these restrictions, and there is still light, and you can still achieve what you want to achieve. And the other interesting thing is that the statistics of this pandemic globally have shown that over 80% of people who get infected with this virus would naturally do well, even without any form of treatment. So they will naturally fight off this condition. But however, one of the things that scientists have also noted is that fighting off this virus is a function of how strong your immune system is. So speaking of our diet, one of the things that have been seen to improve our immune system or boost our immune system, so to speak, is taking a diet which is rich in vitamin C. So vitamin C foods generally are citrus foods such as oranges, lemons. So people can utilize citrus, and here at home you can get such fruits at fairly reasonable prices. So those are the areas where people will probably need to put more emphasis on their fruit, veggies, and will definitely be fine. And the other thing also, so many people who have had problems with any form of airway or chest problems, such as asthma, heart disease, have been seen to have problems when they get infected with this virus. But one of the interesting things is that any person who undergoes regular, moderate exercise will also eventually have an improved lung function, and that also improves their ability to shake this virus off in the event that they get infected. So those are the dynamics around a diet as well as exercise.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mudawarima, for clarifying these issues. Ladies and gentlemen, like we said, we are with Dr. Mudawarima of Revival Clinic in Fakos, who is helping us through debunking the mystery around COVID-19. Doc, you talked about in-house exercises that people can do. Maybe you can just give us some few examples, because I talk of jogging because it's one of the exercises that so many of us are used to do. Let's say we don't have a gym at home, like most of us. What sort of exercises do you recommend that people can do whilst they are under this lockdown?
There's so many, I'm not exactly a fitness expert, but there's so many exercises that people can undertake even from their bedroom. People can skip rope, people can do squats, people can do press-ups, people can do sit-ups, so there are so many things. They can do aerobics. So there are so many ways in which you can utilize this time to do some bit of exercise and stay fit and healthy.
Well, thank you, Doc. We are coming to the next issue, which I feel is a bit of a hot issue, the issue of self-isolation and mandatory quarantine. We have seen lately that people coming from maybe across the borders or from other regions or continents have to go through a mandatory quarantine. And also people who would have been diagnosed of COVID-19 would usually be put under quarantine whilst they are being monitored by a health practitioner. But lately we have seen or we have heard of self-isolation whereby some people would self-isolate, regulating everything by themselves, maybe visit a practitioner after a certain time to be certified fit. How effective is self-isolation? Is it not some sort of a method that would expose us? While we think that somebody is self-isolating and they are busy doing local transmission at their individual places, from your assessment as a medical doctor, how effective is self-isolation against mandatory quarantine?
The truth is, there are a lot of issues around self-isolation and quarantine that also have to be managed in accordance to a local setting. The way people would self-isolate or undertake quarantine in the United States may not necessarily be the same way as we do it here, for various reasons, economic ones, and also for reasons like we may not have as much of infrastructure to support such effective programs. But however, even in our setting, self-isolation as well as quarantine has also yielded quite good results, especially within the first 21 days. We've seen the slowing down of transmission during the first 21 days. After it was lifted, there was an upsurge of our cases, and it is also seen that every time that restrictions are tightened a bit and self-isolation is imposed on, we have seen an improvement on the progression or transmission of this virus. So I would say self-isolation may not work as well in a well-resourced setting as well as an under-resourced setting, but in both settings it has been proved to be quite a very, very effective method in slowing down transmission. So yeah, both of these are quite useful even in our own setting.
Thank you so much, Doc, for clarifying that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of our program, but maybe before we go, we need to hear this from Dr. Mudawarima. We have noticed lately that there have been problems, most of them psychiatric, caused by COVID-19. Would you want to walk us through such problems and how best they can be mitigated?
Issue, man of God, that's a really broad issue, but I'll try and touch on important ones. Imagine a 20-year-old who was in college. They are no longer going to college right now. They probably lost their dad. Their mom probably lost their job. They're probably homeless now within a short space of time. How do you think that young man would feel? How do you think that young man emotionally would be placed right now? Imagine suddenly people are just losing their lives. I think we could see videos even in the beginning of people just dropping dead in some nations. Some nations were so overwhelmed that coffins would be seen lying around even in the streets. So there's a lot of psychiatric conditions that have come on the rise because of this pandemic. People have lost livelihoods. There's a lot of depression going on. Some of the third world economies were already struggling even before this pandemic. This pandemic came and worsened everything for many people. Number two, people have, marriages have broken down, like I have previously alluded to. because financially most families have become worse off than before the pandemic. So there is a lot of depression, there is a lot of traumatic stress disorders, there is a lot going on at the moment. So what I would safely say is that what we could do even at personal level is find time to call your beloved ones. Call them, try to check on them, most especially if they've been affected or infected. If you know somebody who's lost their job, if you know somebody who's lost their livelihood, if you know somebody who's been infected or who's tested positive to COVID, they need our support. Call them from time to time, find out how they're doing. Right now it's the time to stand in the gap for each other. We really are stronger together during such a time. And some of the people may not be able to seek medical care because they probably don't have the income. Try and assist where you can. So this is the time where we need each other and we'll be stronger together.
Oh, quite a powerful response there. Doc, thank you so much. Thank you so much for demystifying COVID-19. We are running out of time and we have approached the end of our program. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe before we go, Dr. Mudawarima, would you just want to give us some parting remarks as we are concluding our program?
Okay, thank you, men of God. These are my last words. Number one, COVID-19 is real. COVID-19 is here with us. We don't know up to when. But for now, let us be our brother's keeper. Let us wash our hands. Let us sanitize regularly. Let us wear face masks. Let us wear shields. Let us do social distancing. Try not to travel or move around if it's not necessary. Let us know that even if you think your immune system is well enough, let's do it for the next person. Let's do it for our go-go in the rural areas. So this thing is real, and I want us to normalize all these public health measures. Let us normalize wearing masks. And let us also know that we have been betrayed by the fact that we've thought that we are not going to get COVID-19 from my relative. I'm probably not going to get COVID-19 from my friend. You see, when people interact, they take off their masks. They put their masks down their chins because they think they are not going to get it from someone they are related to. So let us normalize these preventative measures. Let us normalize wearing masks. Let us normalize washing our hands. So I think we will be good, and this too shall pass.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Mudawarima. We have learned a lot through this program, through your responses. We just hope our audience have been fully educated through this program, and they are going to adhere to the recommendations that we have given. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our program, and I'm left to thank all of you who have taken time to be with us tonight on our health segment of the Harare West YPU. And to Dr. Mudawarima, thank you so much. Our prayers are always with you and other frontline workers for the splendid job that you are doing, that of preserving lives. Thank you so much. May God richly bless you.
Rabbi Matenda
Psalms 91 verse 5. You shall not be afraid of the terror of the night, nor of the arrow, the evil plots and the slender of the wicked that flies by the day. There shall no evil before you, nor any plague or calamity come near your tent. Indeed, we are more than conquerors through Christ who strengthened us.